Something didn't feel right. Oh, it's jumping all over the place. I got it! Ow, ow, ow.
Well, it's no secret that when my bass fishing competitive season starts to wind down late September, mid-October, there is only one place I want to be and one thing I want to be doing, and that's musky fishing.
Look at that musky.
The fall is kind of my downtime, and it just so happens to be my absolute favorite time to chase these big apex predators. And I'm going to give you guys a couple of tips on how I like to fish them, some of my favorite baits I like to use, and hopefully help you guys be able to catch more fish. When the water temps up north start to dip down into those low 50s or below 50 degrees, a lot of your summer top water and blade patterns are almost irrelevant. Not saying you can't catch them, but the door kind of closes on that bite for the rest of the season, and we got to transition to some of those fall patterns. As that water cools, muskies are going to transition to deeper water. You're going to want to look for deeper cabbage bays. You're going to want to look for steep breaks. Muskies love vertical structure they can suspend on. Look for bait. Muskies love to feed right before everything freezes over. One of my favorite ways to target them, rivers, lakes, fall fishing, there's not much better than crankbaits. So musky crankbaits come in a variety of colors and sizes. My general rule of thumb there is you want to look at the forage in your fishery. A lot of my southern rivers, I'm going to downsize like a 4.5 to a 6-inch crankbait. Up on the lake with a bigger forage, I'm going to throw some larger crankbaits. And when I'm fishing fall muskies, the biggest thing for me is that I'm fishing the crankbaits a lot slower, but I'm constantly trying to make contact with the structure. So if I've got some deep laydowns in the rivers, or if I got some vertical structure or steep breaks, I want that crankbait to constantly kind of make contact and suspend and hover there for a few seconds. That's going to really increase your chances of targeting a strike from these suspended muskies. Next up, there's a bait that's really been growing on me and put a lot of fish in the boat over the years, and that is a big tube. So tubes are great because they are so versatile in how you can fish them and even rig them. You can add weights to them to get them down a little bit deeper. You could sweep them, you could pop them. Again, in the fall, I like fishing a tube deeper in the water column. I like adding just a little bit of weight, and I kind of do almost like a sweeping motion. I use a larger profile, typically throw like a 10-inch tube, and it's just a bait that you can fish around a variety of cover. You can fish around grass, you can fish it around rock, you can fish it around wood, you can fish it on the deeper flats. It's going to allow you to give the muskies a very versatile presentation and play with your retrieve to see what those fall muskies really want to eat. I mean, next up, it wouldn't be fall musky fishing if we didn't talk about glide baits. Glide baits are so dang effective in the fall because once you find where the muskies are in the water column, you can work that glide bait and keep it in the strike zone for a long period of time. The nice thing about them is you can get them anywhere in the water column. You can let them get down to those deeper depths if that's where the fish are in that particular area. You can keep them suspended. You can work that bait in a variety of different ways. And the best thing about glides is the slower you work on, the more effective. A lot of times my strikes on these glide baits are coming on the pause, and working them as painfully slow as you can is the key sometimes, that late fall especially, to trigger these big musky bites. So I always save my favorite for last. I love throwing big rubber in the fall. You know, muskies, especially lake muskies, are going to eat bigger in the fall. I love throwing big baits. It's always been a thrill for me, one of my favorite things. I love throwing pounders, medusas, Poseidons, big swim baits, any of these big rubber baits that, again, allow you a lot of versatility and can put some monster fish in the boat. I think the biggest thing with these big rubber baits, I love having a bait that is very versatile, because a lot of times when I'm musky fishing, I really do kind of play with my retrieve and let the fish kind of tell me what they want that particular time. There's not been one time in the fall where I don't have at least 5 or 6 different varieties of big rubber baits. These baits, they look so dang crazy, but it seems like the crazier they are, the angrier those muskies get, and they're so much fun to throw. I really, really like vertical presentations in the fall, and I do a lot of vertical jigging for muskies. That jigging bite is so dang hot late fall. It can be super effective to put multiple fish in the boat. It's going to give the fish an entirely different look as opposed to when you're casting or trolling, especially when you can find suspended bait balls. That's one of my favorite presentations, is fishing a big vertical jigging bait like a bondi bait. Playing with your retrieve, you can do a slow kind of pop off the bottom, let it fall. You can do a slow retrieve if you need to. You can sweep the baits, you can hop them, you can rip them. There are so many different things you can do with them, and a lot of times I really find that once you kind of figure out how those fish want it, that is your key for at least that buy window that you've got. Couple really important things to keep in mind, you guys, is try to think outside the box. We could tell you all these different things to do, but spend time on your area and really understand what the fish in that area are doing, where they're setting up for the late fall. You can really start to put the puzzle pieces together and have a lot of fun. I would also want to encourage y'all to keep a logbook of your musky outings. Know when you're getting follows, record them, the time of day, what the weather's doing, where you got the follow. I try to keep a logbook of all the activity. I'm a big believer in the lunar charts, the moon phases. I like to really understand where my major and minor times are, and I like to put myself in a high productive area during these moon phases. They don't call them the fish at 10,000 casts for no reason. They're not easy. They're going to challenge you mentally, physically, emotionally, in every single way. That's why I love them. I hope that this will help y'all get out there and get that musky addiction. Hope y'all get out there and catch 'em up.